While recording the Doki Doki Literature Club episode, we realized we had a lot of opinions on gender in games, so we decided to cut out our conversations about that and put it in this bonus episode. I did have one other question, and I guess this could have been held off till later, but I was curious, for Sarah and Allie, is it weird playing... I know this wasn't the point of the game, but is it weird playing a dating sim when the main character is a guy? You have to date women.
Ooh.
I'll open with this first, which is, I did not assume I was a dude when I started this game.
Same.
It wasn't until someone called me he that I'm
more,
like, oh, I probably would have chosen a more masculine name.
Yep. And it's also more towards the other one, where that one specifically does say you're a guy, right?
Save the date.
Yeah, save the date. Or
I don't actually remember specifying the gender of save the date.
I'm apparently, excuse me, a terrible person.
I can't speak to Sarah, but I do prefer being a girl in games. Like, when given
the choice, right?
Given the option, I will almost always pick being a girl in games. But I play enough games that I recognize that not every game is going to let me do that, and most games won't. Mm-hmm. So it kind of, I apparently have a lot to say about this, so I'll let Sarah go first if she doesn't.
It didn't bother me because I'm used to it, right? I don't know why I didn't assume I was going to be a dude, because you're a dude when you play these types of games, you know what I mean?
I should have assumed that they were going to make me a dude for this game, but I did not.
Right, hilariously, it was the only game I've ever played that I just put in my name, because it was 3 a.m, and I'm like, I don't care, just I'll be Sarah, and then I was Sarah the boy. I'm like, alright, I'm Sarah the boy, here we go.
I have a Pokemon character a boy named Kara for that exact reason, because I did not like the girl avatar option in that game. But so it boils down to a lot of the problem with representation in media, wherein white male is the default. And so we are socialized and brought up to accept having a white male avatar, even if it's not a literal avatar. Mm-hmm. Whereas it is frequently... Like, one of the complaints I see a lot about things like female-led movies or movies led by people of color is, well, how am I supposed to identify with an X person? How am I supposed to identify with a woman, with a black person, with a, insert non-normal giant air quotes. I keep forgetting that, like, they can't see me. I can't just make a weird facial expression or a physical gesture and have everyone know what I'm doing. But that is actually a really, really common reaction from people is, well, how am I supposed to identify with X? Which is well, it is. It's super stupid. And a lot of it is just because a lot of the people who make that complaint have never had to do so.
Yep. Right.
Because the majority of large published books led by straight white dudes. The majority of movies, straight white dudes. The majority of TV shows. There's a pattern here.
Yeah. I see it.
Dude, I'm so proud. I'm like, obviously you can identify with people who are not your race, gender, sexual orientation, etc. But when you've been forced to do so your entire life, for a lot of people, at least, I mean, I can't speak to not having been forced to do so. I guess I can a little bit, speaking as a white woman. Like, I've never, or very infrequently been in a situation where I'm forced, air quotes again, to identify as a non-white person. Though I do I do have a tendency to make, when I allow character customization, non-white characters in video games, just because it's kind of boring with only white people everywhere. But also because I like to test the limits of facial creators. And, wow, do I look like just a white person with different colored skin? Good job, BioWare.
Always.
They've done a little better over the years. I'll give them that. Still not great. But so it's something I'm used to having to do. So I think that as much as I don't like having to do it, as much as given the choice, with the exception of, that one Pokemon game, I don't remember which one it was at this point.
Black and white.
It was black and white. I will pick the girl character. Because I am a girl, and I identify as female. And so I would like to have that kind of represented in a game.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember when Pokemon Crystal came out.
Yes!
And, oh my god, Life Mate.
Was that the first one?
That is the first one where you
one.
can select a gender.
Yep.
And I was so excited.
Yep.
Still am a little excited about it. I recently got it on the Virtual Console because you have the opportunity to get a shiny Celebi in it, which you haven't had since the Crystal version that came out exclusively in Japan. Not that I'm bitter. I'm a tiny bit bitter.
So I had a break-off question from that. So I think the thing I see a lot more now is when things are letting you pick genders, but even when they aren't, I feel like the thing as a woman, you're expected to do a lot more, especially in longer games with romances in them, is basically have romances that are intended for men, or relationships that are intended for men, then have you as a woman, pursue those. And be expected to pursue those. So, and I was just curious how you guys feel about that. My example here is, Mass Effect has a lot more, for men relationships. Persona 5.
Yeah.
All the ships are for men.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah.
So, an interesting point, specifically about the pursuing thing.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I agree. I'll open with that. I agree wholeheartedly. But on the having to pursue the relationships thing, even as a female character, which is very much not common in society.
Yes.
I don't know. You've never played Dragon Age 2, correct?
No.
So, have any of you guys played Dragon Age 2?
No.
No.
Okay.
Wait. Dragon Age 2? Yes. Yes, I played Dragon Age 2. Sorry, I played through that with you. Just kidding.
No, you didn't. You played through Dragon Age 1 with Origins with me.
Oh, well, I've also played Dragon Age 2.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, those aren't the same. So,
The same game.
admittedly, I can't speak too much to this because I didn't pursue this romance option. But, in Dragon Age 2, first of all of the love interests are bisexual.
Interesting.
All of them can be romanced by a man or a woman, which I think is the only BioWare game where that's the case, though don't quote me on that. The thing about that is, there's one character, Anders, who is kind of the defaulty love interest. He's the Liara. He's the one the game kind of pushes you towards, even if it's not necessarily a conscious thing. He hits on you, even if you're a dude.
That's cool.
People flipped a shit about it.
Of course they did. Yeah.
I think that's actually the one where I think it was David Gator or David Geider. I'm not actually sure how his last name is pronounced. I've never...
Snake?
Hater?
David
No,
Hater?
no.
Okay.
David Gator or Geider is a writer on Pyro.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
gotcha.
Someone went and did this, and I need to find this again because I need to send this to you guys because I feel like you'll all appreciate it. But someone put this forum post that was basically why your bisexual dude characters shouldn't hit on men because it's going to make your primary demographic uncomfortable. And he basically was like, "You're not our primary demographic. Fuck off." People who react like this are not our primary demographic. You can go away. And I'm like, oh, this is beautiful, and it warms my cold, dark heart.
So growing on that, though, so even though all the characters were written to be bisexual, do you feel like there was more love and attention put into the relationships men would naturally go towards than there were the female options?
It is hard for me to say because I've only played through Dragon Age 2 once, and I only romanced one person in it.
Okay.
But I guess the best game I can talk about that with would be Mass Effect, not because I've played through as many times as there are romance options, but because I've watched enough playthroughs of it. Mostly via you, actually. But so, in a lot of cases, yeah. But, at least for Mass Effect, I feel like... So, my primary romance in Mass Effect is Garrus, because Garrus is the best. I'll just say it. It's just objectively factual.
mandibles.
He does.
I would say
sexy
he is probably the
mandibles.
best romance in that game. Yeah.
A lot of people complain about it because you don't get a kiss.
Mm-hmm.
But, he has no lips.
He's got mandibles.
I mean, on the one hand, I totally get but I want to smooch his face. Okay, I get that. But also, I don't know what you were hoping for out of that. I don't know how you expected that to work. He has plates. No, he has, not only does he have the mandibles, but, his face is made of plates. That's not really a thing he's probably physically capable of. But, I do feel like the Garrus romance, and I mean, admittedly, so much bias. Just bias for days. I watched you in Mass Effect 2 romance Tali.
Tali,
And
Jack,
I would say
and
Jack.
Ashley.
Well, not in 2, but yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've watched someone romance Miranda as well, but I don't think that was you.
No.
And yeah, I feel like, personally, I think the Garrus romance was stronger than those three. But once again, wholly bias. And I feel like part of that is just because one of the reasons I like the Mass Effect trilogy overall is because you're watching you get at least a subset of characters that you're watching grow as people over the course of 3 games, and Garrus is one of those. Which is why I feel like of the 3 male where you're a dude romances I've seen in Mass Effect 2, I feel like Tali was the strongest.
Interesting. Yeah, I think Talia is very strong. I think a lot of work and love is put into Liara as well, and I think she's also very strong. There's also a lot of like interesting stuff in Ashley and Jack. Like Jack especially. Jack gets really interesting.
I think Jack is really interesting. But I think a little less love is put into her romance than in Garrus's, for example.
Yeah, but like what I find like extremely sexist and kind of like gets to the heart of this like question for me is like Garrus wasn't a romance until the fans demanded.
Oh yeah.
And he is basically like the main, like they had Caden who was just the shit romance that no one liked. And he was just this
actually,
like, well, some people liked him,
Caden.
but he's a wet noodle that like, falls flat for most people.
I'm not saying
no
you're
one is,
wrong.
I mean, like no one is like as rabid as a fan for Caden as they are Garrus.
Oh yeah, and some of the rabid fans for Garrus are awful.
I don't disbelieve that. So, like, you start from this, like, level of deficit, and then, like, have to either accept, especially for, like, a straight woman, like, I'm talking for you. I'm a white man that shouldn't be talking for women. But anyway.
I'm interested in what you're saying. Like, I will definitely tell you I disagree with you if I do.
Okay.
But I'm interested to see where you're going.
This is just, like, I feel like this must be the feelings you have, and I feel like I should be speaking about because it just feels like you come into a game and as like a straight woman you are given a couple of romances and maybe you'll get a good one, but like all the love is put on the things the men are going to go for, and probably there will be a bisexual or lesbian female romance that is pushed really hard as well, because the guys will think that's hot. And that's generally the only direction that it goes for.
I think that's actually a really good point. Like I misinterpreted your question a little bit, which I agree that it's kind of sucky that like the reason that you get a great romance, like I'm not even called Caden necessarily a bad romance option. Some people are into Caden, that's cool, but like a really to me great romance option in Garrus, and from what I've heard, the Thane romance is really enjoyable too. I haven't personally played it; it's on my extraordinarily long to-do list. But that they had to kind of fight for it. Like it wasn't you're just gonna get a really cool romance option. It's no, we want to sleep with the weird dinosaur man.
Well, I think what it comes down to is when you have like a pool of romanceable people and the game is developed primarily by one type of person, you're gonna get the type of people that they are attracted to and the type of people that they really like as dudes, right? Not necessarily what women think are attractive, straight women think are attractive. And yeah, it sucks when you go into a game and there's like, you can marry one whole guy and then there's like 4 girls.
Oh yeah,
so
no, that's the worst. Well, and like, Persona 5. I love Persona 5.
Mm-hmm.
What's the thing with Persona 5? Do they only give you...
You're a boy.
You're a boy.
And you are a straight boy.
Yeah,
Even
girls
though,
can't
like,
love girls.
there is... that is what Madoka Magica taught us. Completely subverted at the end where, yeah, sure, girls can't love girls.
Girls can't love girls? Girls can't love girls! Girls can't love girls!
But, like, Persona 5, the one person I want to romance in Persona 5, I can't.
wait, who do you want to romance in Persona 5?
Ryuji.
Really?
Yes. Because, okay, so...
I'm not judging you right now, but I'm judging you a little bit.
Let me talk about why. Well, it's the same... It's kind of the same reason I wanted to romance Garrus, which is...
Mandibles?
Yeah. Ryuji just has some sexy mandibles.
Mandibles.
So, I am a huge proponent of love, especially as in media. I mean, in real life too, but springing from whatever, springing from friendship.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
You should genuinely like the person you are in a romantic relationship with, and it's probably partially because he's the first character. But like one of the reasons I love Garrus so much is because he's your best friend, and that's similar to one of the reasons why I love Ryuji so much. Is he is very clearly your character's best friend. Like if how they were written wasn't as best friends as they were, acquaintances or just got along well but didn't really want to like hang out all the time and be best buds. Like I wouldn't be like, yes, this one. But I didn't feel that connection with any of the girls in particular, and I didn't feel that connection with any of the other guys in particular. Like it was very much felt like this is the person that my character has the most fun spending time with. And so that's why Ryuji.
So now they're gonna kiss.
If you're gonna give me romance options, yes.
Yeah.
If you're gonna give me romance options, I want my character to be able to romance the character that I feel is best for them.
So did you have anything else you wanted to say about that, Sarah?
I don't think so. I think I'm good.
I had an extra part of this I wanted to mention. So like, in Honey Pop, for example. This is a weird example.
I am really interested to see where this
So
goes.
Honey Pop is a game. It's a puzzle game where a puzzle dating game. Anyway, all the women. You're trying to fuck the women with a puzzle game. Simple.
It's basically
Don't worry,
Bejeweled, but the reward is instead of
It's
like
sex.
shiny pixels, is boning ladies.
Yeah, don't worry too much about it.
Okay.
But in that game, you can choose your gender.
You can.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
But you're still just fucking ladies. So like,
Oh, so the gender of them doesn't change,
yeah.
but your gender
So that's the other part of this I wanted to see where your guys' opinions are on, because it's just like you can choose your gender, but basically you're just playing a straight male or lesbian,
Find, replace,
or,
he,
like,
she.
Yeah, because like the dialogues aren't changing to make you like a straight or a bi woman or a lesbian or a bi woman or anything like that. You're just woman fucking ladies now. It's still like written for a straight male, but now you are called a woman.
So, I think that's an interesting kind of question. I admittedly haven't played much of Honey Pop.
I see this in other games too,
Well-
especially like Doki Doki did this.
I mean, I'm speaking as someone who, like, I am nearly the, quote unquote default.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's kind of weird to have the stories written from a straight male perspective at all times, even if you just, like Frank said, find, replace he with she.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dragon Age, or all the Mass Effect games really do that a lot, especially in any of their non-straight romances.
Yeah.
Like, as far as I'm aware, if you, for example, romance Liara as a woman as opposed to as a man, it makes zero difference in the story. And it's interesting because, like, overall it doesn't bother me in Mass Effect. Like, there are some things I really, really like about it, because we complain a lot about how a lot of people fall into the trap of the strong, quote-unquote, strong female character, and a lot of the tropes that kind of play into that can be minimized a lot by basically writing her as a he and then just doing find, replace, she.
You're saying that's a good thing to do?
No.
Oh, okay.
I would say, so I think it's a better thing than someone who has zero experience with being female or talking to women about their experiences in their lives, just going, I know how to write women, and just writing how they think women think and feel and are. I think it's better to remember that people are people.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, that sort of thing really does impact how you behave and how you're socialized and how you experience the world. And there isn't really necessarily, like, a foolproof, easy way to do it. Like, there's no shortcut for doing it well.
Yeah. It's kind of like, so the male power fantasy is the buff strong dude, but the strong female character that we most often get is still the male fantasy. Mm-hmm. It's just a sexy female lady. And it's like, without any depth.
Yeah.
Well, and that's not even the strong female character we usually get. She's usually, like, in a lot of cases, the strong female character is basically just hot lady that we keep saying is strong. Like, a lot of times the strong female character doesn't even do anything the male protagonist is doing. What I'm saying is the find, replace, he, she is better than a lot of strong female characters.
Well, what I was going to say was, and I think this is kind of what we were saying too, is Ryan brought up a point of, like, as a woman playing some sort of dating sim game, it is different because you usually have to pursue the men, where that, in general, society doesn't normally happen.
More like when you're approaching a game, you always have to put yourself in a position where it's like, when I approach this game that has romance, I am assumed to, like, have to take on the feelings of, like, a man. Like, when you approach a game and it has romance in it, do you feel like, there are only girls in this I can date? Like, is that like do you get that feeling? Like,
I don't know.
Is it like, I don't know.
I think maybe I don't, because I'm straight-ish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I definitely identify as bisexual, so
Yeah.
it just, I don't know.
Oh, like,
it doesn't register.
Like,
I
when I
guess.
play games, too, it would be like, oh, yeah, that guy's hot. And
Right.
stuff like that. But, like, I don't know if there's just, like, fatigue. It's like when you come into a thing, you just have to be like, more, like...
There
more
is a bit of
ladies.
that.
Yeah.
I would agree with
when
that,
it's-
yeah.
When it's all girls,
Yeah.
I get a little bit of that. Like, when it's a variety, it doesn't really bother me that there are... I think it's great that there are female options you can romance as a lady.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, when it's all ladies, and it's clearly written from a male point of view, and they just did the find replace, like, it gets really kind of tiring.
Yeah.
But it's not so much the romancing women part of it that's tiring, it's how it's treated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's...
Because, I have no problem with romancing women. Like,
Yeah.
cool.
I don't think that is, yeah.
But it feels, and sometimes it really feels like, yeah, they say you're a girl, but it was clearly not written from any sort of perspective, or even had a woman consulted on it, is when it really gets me.
Yeah, it's a really difficult thing to articulate because you can't point to the specific thing that is wrong, but it just is. And
Yes,
you can
exactly.
tell when a woman has written a book about a female protagonist versus when a dude has written a book about a female protagonist.
Oh my God,
I
have you
can't
ever
point to
seen-
the specific thing that is wrong, but it just is. And it's great that they went and tried to do the thing, but it's different. You know what I mean?
exactly where you're going.
So there are some just amazing, like, excerpts from books written by dudes about women, and, like, I don't even remember what book it's from, but the one where, there's a woman and she's sitting on the toilet talking about how it takes her so long to pee because women's insides are just this confusing mess.
Oh my
And,
God.
like, dudes can just stand there and summon pee on a whim, and I'm like, have you even ever met a woman? Like, does that thing?
That is hilarious. Oh my
The one
god.
How that works?
The one I saw the other day was like a woman describing
Oh, yeah.
herself.
The one where
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can tell a woman is written by dudes by how much description she puts into talking about her boobs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
'Cause, yeah, they sure are attached to me. Like, there you go. That's the description you need of them right there. But yeah, no, I know what you mean, and like, I'm actually curious. Speaking to the dudes in the room,
Welcome, guys.
can, like, if you didn't know the author of a book, would you be able to read it and go, oh, this lady was clearly written by a dude?
My answer's easy. I don't read.
That is a non-answer.
That is a cop-out.
That's not I don't have that experience. It's like if you were like, Paul, what do you feel about hunting lions? You're like, I don't know. I've never been hunting lions. Like,
Aren't lions endangered? You should probably have opinions.
I don't know. See, I have no idea. But, I mean, like, seriously, like, I don't read enough to
That's
have
fair.
an opinion on this.
I feel like that's valid.
I have like a 50-50 like feel on this usually. And it's usually like for movies where I'll be like, this feels like it was like directed by a woman or it was like had a woman writer. And then like half the time I'm right. I think I think a lot of that is because I'm a man. I don't have that experience of like living that all the time and seeing.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong.
For sure,
I'm just
yeah.
totally curious
No,
about
I'm
this
just
from your
trying to
guys'
feel it.
perspective.
So one of my fantastic superpowers is my inability to think of two things at the same time. So when I'm reading or watching
Is that
video
really a superpower?
or really anything about that
This is
is
so
like
awful.
even coming from an art background where I've done art history and I know some about how to like do things and story, it never occurs to me. I have the hardest time seeing twists. I'm just like along for the ride the entire time.
That sounds so magical.
It's amazing. That's why it's a
Actually,
superpower.
kind of jealous.
I know,
right?
He and I were talking about this recently. Where like I am the person who sits in a movie theater and like watches a movie and like 10 minutes into the movie, oh, that's what's going on. Okay, yeah, I get it. And then like not 100% of the time, but like 85% of the time, it's not identical, very close to what my brain immediately did. And he never has that experience, and I kind of hate him for it. Because I would like to be surprised.
So going back to our game of the month, Doki Doki Literature Club, I am surprised I saw the twist. Because in 90% of the circumstances, I will not. And I think the only reason why is because we're doing it as a game club project, where I was being more self-aware. That's really it. Part of it is I don't have enough experience in knowing what the difference is between the two. And even if I did, there's a good chance I wouldn't.
What happens, Frank, if in doing this like book club where you have to like talk about things and put together your thoughts, you start recognizing narrative tropes and you lose this.
I would be very surprised because this has been quid pro quo for the last like 8, 9, 10 years.
Like, he would, honestly, I feel like he would just start hating us. Like,
Don't tell me to play a game.
if I could get that ability back, just the ability to go, okay, shut up, brain. Let me just watch this thing and enjoy it, and not immediately go, oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. That would be great. Like, I wouldn't want it all the time, but sometimes.
It's like losing the innocence of childhood. You never get it back.
It's true. Wah, wah.
Yeah,
And on that note.
I was just curious as to whether or not that's an experience you guys had. And I guess, to be fair, like, I don't think you read a ton either, do you,
Nope.
Ryan?
That's why I went with movies and shit.
And you read on occasion, but I don't think you read recreationally a ton.
Not as much anymore. Like, I do a lot of films now, but same thing. It's like, just
Yeah,
along
so
for the ride.
I'm curious how, like, now I want to consult some of my dude friends who read more and, like, see if that's a thing that they've experienced as well. Because I'm curious.
Even like the flip, right? I wonder if there's ever been a time where someone has read a book that was written by a woman with a male protagonist, and they can tell, like, they just totally got the dudes wrong. Like,
super curious about that because, like, I
who knows? Yeah.
I saw someone's response to the like woman describing her body thing, and they wrote a male version of that. That was gorgeous.
That is beautiful. I love that post. So, you know what's funny? I would not be surprised if that was from my blog that you found.
Oh, probably.
I
think we say the same shit because I see. Like,
Well,
half of
mostly
my
I
thing.
remember reblogging that recently.
Yeah.